Here are the top 10 books, top their lists through history. Sir Francis Bacon once said, "Some books should be tasted, some devoured, but only a few should be chewed and digested thoroughly." But with so little time to read so many books, how do we avoid reading bad books and find the great few books to read that should be chewed and digested thoroughly? Whether you're looking for great books to add to your reading list or share with others, you'll enjoy this list of top 10 books of all time, as voted by famous authors. Number 1. Anna Karenina, by Leo Tolstoy. Synopsis: Anna Karenina tells of the doomed love affair between the sensuous and rebellious Anna and the dashing officer, Count Vronsky. Tragedy unfolds as Anna rejects her passionless marriage and thereby exposes herself to the hypocrisies of society. Anna's heartbreaking story unfolds against the colorful backdrop of 19th century Russia, amid a hypercritical and unforgiving society that will never accept her for who she really is. Longing for passion, Anna indulges in a harmless affair. When the relationship turns serious, she makes the fateful decision to abandon her loveless marriage. But in an era when such things are unheard of, will the consequence of choosing her heart's desire bring disaster? Number 2. Madame Bovary, by Gustave Flaubert. Synopsis: When Emma Rouault marries Charles Bovary, she imagines she will pass into the life of luxury and passion that she reads about in sentimental novels and women's magazines. But Charles is a dull country doctor, and provincial life is very different from the romantic excitement for which she yearns. Madame Bovary is the debut novel of French writer Gustave Flaubert, published in 1856. The character lives beyond her means in order to escape the banalities and emptiness of provincial life. When the novel was first serialized in La Revue de Paris. Madame Bovary is the debut novel of French writer Gustave Flaubert, published in 1856. The character lives beyond her means in order to escape the banalities and emptiness of provincial life. When the novel was first serialized in La Revue de Paris between 1 October 1856 and 15 December 1856. Public prosecutors attacked the novel for obscenity. The resulting trial in January 1857 made the story notorious. After Flaubert's acquittal on 7 February 1857, Madame Bovary became a bestseller. In April 1857, when it was published in 2 volumes, a seminal work of literary realism, the novel is now considered Flaubert's masterpiece and one of the most influential literary works in history. Number 3. War and Peace, by Leo Tolstoy. Synopsis: The novel chronicles the French invasion of Russia and the impact of the Napoleonic era on Tsarist society, through the stories of 5 Russian aristocratic families. Originally published as Vojna I Mir in 1865-69. This panoramic study of early 19th century Russian society, noted for its mastery of realistic detail and variety of psychological analysis, is generally regarded as a master work of Russian literature and one of the world's greatest novels. Number 4. Lolita, by Vladimir Nabokov. Synopsis: Awe and exhilaration, along with heartbreak and mordant wit, abound in Lolita, Nabokov's most famous and controversial novel, which tells the story of the aging Humbert's obsessive, devouring, and doomed passion for the nymphette Dolores Hayes. Lolita is also the story of a hyper-civilized European colliding with the cheerful barbarism of post-war America. Most of all, it is a meditation on love as outrage and hallucination, madness and transformation. Number 5. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. By Mark Twain. Synopsis: a 19th-century boy from a Mississippi River town recounts his adventures as he travels down the river with a runaway slave, encountering a family involved in a feud, 2 scoundrels pretending to be royalty, and Tom Sawyer's aunt who mistakes him for Tom. It is a novel by Mark Twain published in December 1884. It is considered one of the greatest American novels, and one of the first literary works written in the local language of the local folk. Number 6. Hamlet. By William Shakespeare. Synopsis: Hamlet is Shakespeare's most popular and most puzzling play. It follows the form of a revenge tragedy, in which the hero, Hamlet, seeks vengeance against his father's murderer, his uncle Claudius, now the King of Denmark. Hamlet summary: the ghost of the King of Denmark tells his son Hamlet to avenge his murder by killing the new king. Hamlet's uncle. Hamlet feigns madness, contemplates life and death, and seeks revenge. His uncle, fearing for his life, also devises plots to kill Hamlet. The play ends with a duel, during which the king, queen, Hamlet's opponent and Hamlet himself are all killed. Number 7. The Great Gatsby. By Scott Fitzgerald. Synopsis: the story primarily concerns the young and mysterious millionaire Jay Gatsby and his quixotic passion and obsession with the beautiful former debutante Daisy Buchanan. The Great Gatsby, Scott Fitzgerald's third book, stands as the supreme achievement of his career. This exemplary novel of the jazz age has been acclaimed by generations of readers. The Great Gatsby, Scott Fitzgerald's third book, stands as the supreme achievement of his career. This exemplary novel of the jazz age has been acclaimed by generations of readers. The story of the fabulously wealthy Jay Gatsby and his love for the beautiful Daisy Buchanan, of lavish parties on Long Island at a time when the New York Times noted gin was the national drink and sex the national obsession. It is an exquisitely crafted tale of America in the 1920s. The Great Gatsby is one of the great classics of 20th century. Number 8. In Search of Lost Time by Marcel Proust. Synopsis: In Search of Lost Time follows the narrator's recollections of childhood and experiences into adulthood during late 19th century to early 20th century aristocratic France, while reflecting on the loss of time and lack of meaning to the world. In Search of Lost Time, also translated as Remembrance of Things Past, novel in 7 parts by Marcel Proust, published in French as a La Recherche du Temps perdu from 1913 to 1927. The novel is the story of Proust's own life, told as an allegorical search for truth. It is the major work of French fiction of the early 20th century. In January 1909, Proust experienced the involuntary recall of a childhood memory when he tasted a rusk, a twice-baked bread, which in his novel became a madeleine, dipped in tea. In July he retired from the world to write his novel, finishing the first draft in September 1912. The first volume, Du Côté de chez Swann, Swan's Way, also translated as The Way by Swans, was refused on several occasions, but was finally issued at the author's expense in November 1913. Proust at this time planned only 2 further volumes. During the war years he revised the remainder of his novel, enriching and deepening its feeling, texture, and construction, enhancing the realistic and satirical elements, and tripling its length. In so doing he transformed it into one of the most profound achievements of the human imagination. Number 9. The Stories of Anton Chekhov. By Anton Chekhov. Synopsis: Stories by the famous Russian author, Anton Chekhov. Chekhov lived during the last years of the Tsars, and most of his stories are approximately of that time period. The book gives an excellent view of Russian life in Tsarist Russia, as well as entertaining plots and style. Richard Pavir and Larissa Volokonsky, the highly acclaimed translators of War and Peace, Dr. Zhivago, and Anna Karenina, which was an Oprah Book Club pick and million-copy bestseller, bring their unmatched talents to the selected stories of Enter Richard Pavir and Larissa Volokonsky, the highly acclaimed translators of War and Peace, Dr. Zhivago, and Anna Karenina, which was an Oprah Book Club pick and million-copy bestseller, bring their unmatched talents to the selected stories of Anton Chekhov, a collection of 30 of Chekhov's best tales from the major periods of his creative life. Considered by many the greatest short story writer, Anton Chekhov changed the genre itself with his spare, impressionistic depictions of Russian life and the human condition. From characteristically brief, evocative early pieces such as The Huntsman and The Tour de Force, a boring story, to his best-known stories such as The Lady with the Little Dog, and his own personal favorite, The Student. Chekhov's short fiction possesses the transcendent power of art to awe and change the reader. This monumental edition, expertly translated, is especially faithful to the meaning of Chekhov's prose and the unique rhythms of his writing, giving modern readers an authentic sense of his style and a true understanding of his greatness. Number 10. Middlemarch. By George Eliot. Synopsis: The novel is set in the fictitious Midlands town of Middlemarch during 1829-1832, and follows several distinct, intersecting stories with a large cast of characters. Issues include the status of women, the nature of marriage, idealism, self-interest, religion, hypocrisy, political reform, and education. Taking place in the years leading up to the First Reform Bill of 1832, Middlemarch explores nearly every subject of concern to modern life: art, religion, science, politics, self, society, human relationships. Among her characters are some of the most remarkable portraits in English literature. Dorothea Brooke, the heroine, idealistic but naive; Rosamund Vincy, beautiful and egoistic; Edward Kossyuban, the dry-as-dust scholar; Tertius Lydgate, the brilliant but morally flawed physician; the passionate artist Will Ladislaw; and Fred Vincy and Mary Garth, childhood sweethearts whose charming courtship is one of the many humorous elements in the novel's rich comic vein. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to FactsBew channel for more useful videos.